door open. I think it'll be okay.
It's not.
No one will drag race in.
Looking towards.
Oh, I got it.
Oh, you're
Okay.
clicking on there.
I'm sorry.
Well, I'll say thanks everybody for coming tonight. Just in case you've never been to one of our meetings before, my name is Mary Kate. I'm the president of the Historical Society. Thank you so much. I always love doing a quick intro while I have a captivated audience, but I appreciate everybody coming tonight. Just a quick couple housekeeping things you might be interested in. We have upcoming for the 250th anniversary of America. We have formed our own committee in Brightwaters to kind of do a couple community things here. Our first event is coming up. We're doing a Brightwaters Bay Shore Day at Saginaw Coast Manor, May 3rd from 10 to 1. It's going to be a really great day, family friendly, free to attend. We have a lot of great demonstrators and reenactors coming, cooking demos. We have someone coming to do embroidery. The library is doing historical games. We also have authors coming, speakers coming, and the Art Council is also doing a children's art contest. So it'll be a lot of great things going on that day, something for everybody. The house itself is also going to be offering their colonial tour, which is a nice condensed tour of them too, so you can fit that in as well while you're walking around the grounds and seeing everybody. But that again is May 3rd, and we're really excited for it. It's our first kickoff event, and we're just really excited to bring everybody together and just make history accessible that day to people in our community. So on the 250 committee topic, we also have to pay for that event, and we're also doing a barbecue in July. We have a merchandise fundraiser going on right now. If you haven't seen it, we will email you again after this meeting today. But that's going on until Sunday. So if you haven't checked it out, there's a lot of cool stuff on there. But the store does close on Sunday, and all the proceeds from that are going into those two events to help pay for them. And then that barbecue I mentioned is going to be July 3rd at Gilbert Park. Another great community day using what we have here in the village. We're kind of making that more of a fun night instead of history focused, but so something for everybody happening this summer to celebrate. And then there's also going to be some pieces that we're bringing out. We have garden flags coming on sale that will be available at our next meeting, or the plant sale, which everyone should go to as well, which is a great event in our community. Jennifer can tell you all about it if you have questions. But yeah, all those things are important, which leads me to my next point. Make sure you signed in. We send a lot of great information out through our email. There's a lot of great volunteer opportunities, events coming up, and we send all that information out, but you have to be on the list to read about it. So the sign-in sheet's right there if you missed it. And then also just one quick note about volunteer opportunities. On top of our 250 committee events, we also have our events going on. We have baseball day this June, and we're doing a couple other things for the rest of the year. We're going to be at the volunteer fair at the library, which is April 21st. So if you're looking for volunteer opportunities, I know a lot of great organizations are going to be there, but you could also volunteer with us here tonight. Just let me know. You could see myself, Gabrielle, Jennifer, Chris, any one of us will help give you an opportunity to volunteer how you would like to. So, but if you're just in general though, that April 21st event is going to be great. So that's all I have for me, and I'm going to invite Gabrielle up to introduce our speaker.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me today. I'm Gabrielle. I have the pleasure of knowing Harry actually from the library. I'm the local history and adult reference librarian over there. On the Historical Society, I'm an archivist and the Brightwaters Village historian. So I'm very glad he could join us this evening. Harry Brown is a lifelong resident of Bay Shore. He has been very active in the community for decades and enjoys volunteering and interacting with residents and avenues such as this. So he's a founding member of the Bay Shore-Brightwaters Summit Council, which was instrumental in the revitalization of downtown Bay Shore. He's the 25-year president of the Bay Shore High School Alumni Association, presenting over $250,000 in awards to Bay Shore High School graduates. So he's going to speak about that tonight, which is very exciting. He was recognized by the Bay Shore Chamber of Commerce as a distinguished Bay Shore-Brightwaters citizen of 2014. He's inducted many people into the Bay Shore High School Hall of Fame, but he was also himself inducted just a few years ago in 2024. And he is currently Board of Trustee for the Bay Shore-Brightwaters Public Library. So that's just a few of his accolades. There's so many more, but we'd have to have a separate presentation for that. So without further ado, Harry.
Thank you all for coming out. Obviously, it's a rainy day and we have to pass over, so I appreciate you being here. I'd like to introduce Mike Dolan. He's our Vice President. Raise your hand. He's our Secretary of all of I'm going to do a presentation on the Bay Shore High School Hall of Fame wall, and we also have the Bay Shore Veterans Wall on high school. Two, I think, very unique and special displays in high school that most high schools don't have. So I'm pretty excited to show you that. But before I do that, first, about our Alumni Association. Again, the main purpose of our Alumni Association is to raise funds for student scholarships. We do that by getting donations from alumni, community residents, and from reunion events. Whenever a class has a reunion event, we try to get involved with them and say, if you make part of your reunion events a goal of raising some funds for student scholarships, we'll present that on senior awards night. Last year we gave over $24,000 on senior awards night, and this year we're going to give $20,000 again. So that's been growing and growing over the years. Obviously, the students appreciate that, and the parents appreciate that as well. Again, we present those awards every night, every May or June on senior awards night ourselves to the students. So that we enjoy, and again, that's our main goal. But getting back to the two displays now, back when I was on the board back in the 90s, when I got off the Board of Education, I got involved with our Alumni Association, and we got it incorporated and set up as a 501c3 nonprofit back in the early 2000s. Small group of alumni. We would meet obviously periodically, and as you would get together with different alumni, you would start saying, well, do you remember so-and-so from this class? Do you know that she went on to get a gold records of this one? Scott Development established a billion-dollar industry. And we knew of that. The Bay Shore School District goes back over 100 years, 25 years now. But when we're talking about it back in the early 2000s, we said, well, wouldn't it be nice for the students to hear about some of these alumni that have done so much, and they could be inspired by these people if they knew of them. So we said, well, how about doing a Hall of Fame? The first thing I want to tell you about our Bay Shore High School Hall of Fame is it's not a sports Hall of Fame. Although we have some people in the Hall of Fame that don't have sports credentials. It's also not, it doesn't say Bay Shore High School Alumni Hall of Fame, because we also have some school administrators and teachers that are there also. But the bulk of the inductees are alumni. We've had 7 inductions over the 25 years. You have the sheet, I gave you a sheet there, that will show you those 7 induction dates and the names of those individuals, so I don't have to go read them all out here, they won't spend so much time. So those names are there. 72 of them are alumni, and 9 of them are call them the school icons. That would be people that see like the political flag, the football field, maybe that's political flag, each one of the inductees. Bill Teagan, Mr. Elliott, Mr. Elliott, the Water maybe that's a couple of them. So some of these people just jump right out, obviously. So, and it's also not as you can see there, it's not an annual event. We do it originally our hope was to do it every 5 years. But because you're going to see that we did it in 2002, 3, and 4, 3 years in a row in the very beginning, because we were going back for that 100-year period of time. And it was kind of easy for people, for the names to pop out like the Anthony brothers, obviously. and you see the names that are on there. So, it's not an annual event, and we had them in 2002, 2003, and 2004. All the people that were alive that were inducted obviously came to the event. They had a big dinner at Captain Bill's. It was well attended. It was a great time. Everybody, it was like a big reunion, each one. But we had those, and everybody went home, and it was fine. But then we said, well, that's not helping the students. You know, it was nice for us, and it was nice for the inductees. But we have to do something where the students can now hear about these inductees. So we talked about it a little bit, and most school districts have all things. Most of them are sports things. I call this more a career thing, not a sports thing. It's not sports thing. So we wanted to highlight them. So we said, well, most school districts put up plaques someplace, and the plaques today are really fancy with a picture on it as well. Maybe a couple of words about the person. But plaques, over time, you don't know what they mean. You know, they're sitting on the wall, and the kids will walk by them. If they look at it at all, you know, they're just zooming back and forth. So we said, and this is going to, we're talking now back in the early 2000s. So we said, well, technology is there. We can do something a little bit different. We wanted to come up with an electronic wall display in the high school. So obviously, we had to get a hold of the school district and pass the Board of Education and people involved there, and to get permission to do this. So they do you know the rear lobby of the high school? Are you familiar with that?
Yes.
What that is? Okay. In the rear lobby of the high school, they had some display cases, beautiful display cases, but they had artwork, you know, different things in there. So we said, well, could you give us one of those display cases? We'll convert it into an electronic Hall of Fame wall where the students can now come up to the wall and hear about these inductees and what they've done. So they did that. We stopped having inductions after 2004 and went into a fundraising campaign to raise money for this, because all the funds for both of these walls are not taxpayer money. This is all private funds that we raised to do this. So we stopped for a couple of years, raised some funds, and got together with an outfit that knows how to build this stuff, and gave me the idea of what we wanted to do, and we came up with this display. So this is the current display right here in the high school. When I go through this, I want to show you the features of this wall as if you're a student there, because some of you may have seen this wall if you've been up at the high school and you walk through the real lobby area there, but you don't know what it can do. And you're not going to stop there and do it because you're there on the business for the high school. And of course, security is now different than it was years ago, so you're not wandering around the building where you can stand there. Even when we have the reunion tours up there, we can only spend a brief amount of time at the wall. But again, the purpose was for the students now, because they're hanging around in that area anyway. So we'll go up to this wall and to hear about some of these inductees. I'm going to show you what they do. So this wall, as it says here, is 20 feet wide, 20 feet. We renovated this whole wall area here. It goes floor to ceiling, and again, it's a career hall thing. And if you see the categories up here on the top, those are some of most of the categories that these inductees would fall into. So we have some people that, obviously the biggest one is business. We have people here that have $1 billion and $1 trillion businesses that have done very well. But most of these people have more than one career and been successful in multiple careers. We have obviously the Anthony brothers in the business area. We have Frank Bolton, obviously, you know, he was successful on Wall Street and then went into establishing the Long Island Ducks and back in the community forever. We have the arts, we have music, we have entertainment, we have people that have done Broadway, we have people that have gold records and all kinds of awards in the music area. Athletics, even though we don't, I said it's not a sports hall of fame, we have some people with athletic credentials people like the Naps and Philly Nap, who established kid wrestling on the East Coast. Jumper Levy, again, also involved with the kid wrestling programs back in those days and establishing that. We have Al Sharman, who was in the Olympics. So there's a few people with the athletic credentials. The Van Nostrings, King and Alan Van Nostrings, they were teachers here in Bay Shore, but they also were tremendous tennis players, the whole family was. I'm still in contact with King Van Nostring. He sponsors one of our scholarships every year. He's in Florida now. Did competitive tennis into his 90s, and he still has a great sense of humor. So he's a wonderful person. We have obviously government. Okay, we had Party Hill, he's a politician. He graduated from Bay Shore. He's in the government sphere. John Cochran, also the sheriff and a local politician here. In the legal area, we have Justice Norman Ritchie. He's our oldest inductee from when we graduated the class of 1919. Our youngest inductee is Aisha Maharo. She graduated in 2001. She wrote a book when she was in high school. Went on to Harvard, and then of course now she's a writer on Hollywood for TV. She was Parks and Recreation is one of the ones she's involved with. So they pick up certain things here and they go on. In science, we have Bob Metcalf. Bob Metcalf, again, he was successful in finance, and he was also a scientist. He invented Ethernet. Ethernet, if you don't know, is the wiring that's in every computer. He had the patents on it. So you think he's good for the financially alone. But he got involved with others to establish Freecom, which is something like it's a big on the West Coast. It's like IBM on the West Coast. Anyway, so he's done really well as well. So again, these are the type of individuals that we want the students to kind of hear about. So So this is our eligibility form here, and there are, if you read over here, it talks about the type of people we look for. We're looking for alumni or people that attended Bay Shore High School, because some people attended Bay Shore but didn't graduate. They went into the military or whatever reason. So there's still people, and maybe they've done well after they came out of the service and did well for themselves in that particular career. So that's one category. And you can also be a school district employee, but a former employee. You can be somebody that's active in the school district now. And again, we'll go back to the people I talked about. And I'll show you some in a second. It can also be a former school district non-faculty employee. Could be somebody that's in security. Could be somebody that's a bus driver. Somebody that's had a significant positive impact on the student population for whatever reason. And so those are the categories that we look for. I have a selection committee when it's time to think about this for an induction. And I have 15 people on a committee that get together to discuss some of the resumes that we have. And we have about 30 or 35 resumes, usually by the time we're ready to have an induction. But we want to keep it limited. So as I said, there's only 81 people in this right now after 25 years. We want to keep it special. We want to keep it limited. So we don't just take the 30 people that resumes we have. We vote on it. We try to keep it down to, we always wanted to keep it down to a single digit, to 9 or 10. Never worked out quite that well because of tie votes. So we always had 2 rounds of voting. We would discuss them and so forth. And I would always give the selection committee my opening speech to the selection committee was always I called it my favorite uncle speech. I said, this is not my favorite. Everybody has a favorite uncle that you think is the greatest, and they should be in their in the whole thing. That's not what this is. This is a career whole thing. And again, the purpose is so the students can become a citizen of the year, you can get all these other awards you want. That's not the purpose here. So the committee would get together, we would have the voting, and then of course we would send out the notices and see if they would want to accept it, number one, have the event. And then we would have to go to the wall. So, next one. So this was the original concept. The original concept was to have some photos on the side here, lighted cupolas, because that's the symbol of the school district, and it's attractive. We also look at that. We wanted a school monitor in the center, school information monitor, where the students could go over and see what's going on for the day. The school controls this monitor. It could be about sports for the week or whatever it might be. But the purpose was to get the kids to come over to that wall area. Then we would have here and here, I call it, that's the inductee ID plates where the inductee's name would be on it. And then we have these two little monitors down here, which is where the kids are gonna now go to and access some of them. Show you how that works. Okay, so in 2007, we had a celebration, opening ceremony, what is it called? What do you call it? Dedication. Yeah, dedication ceremony, okay, in 2007. And we had some of the inductees attend as well. So, next one, Chris. So, here's the audience, this is Mr. Teevan. How many of you remember Mr. Teevan? Okay, well, Mr. Teevan was an administrator in high school with a booming voice, and he impacted a lot of the students back in the 60s and 70s. Okay, next one. Okay, now, during that ceremony, these are some of the Hall of Fame inductees that were there. Leon Komorowski, Bill Teevan, Artie Drumhauser, Don Cochran, Christy Edwards Potter, Judy Morris, Frank Bolton, of course, Stewie McLaughlin, and Jerry Barker, who's on the board of education for 40 years. Okay, so this was after, these inductees again came from the class, the inductees from 2002, 3, and 4. Okay, next one. Okay, then these are the nomenclature plates 2002, 2003, 2004. So you see we have a little bit room for expansion, but not a lot. Next one. Okay. Now originally, again, on the outside areas here, we had large photos, but as more classes came in, the photos got smaller. So we knew we were going to have to do something about that after a while. So again, these are the two biography monitors, and again, the cupolas, and the information monitor there. And again, now you can see a little bit clearer the categories up top of the careers impacted. Next. This is a close-up of one of the ID plates, the inductee's name. So this tells the year they were inducted. It tells the name of the inductees for that particular induction period, and it gives a 4-digit code in front of it. Next. Now, when the student, when the kids, or even the public, comes up to those two little monitors that you saw, this is what they see. So they'll tap in the 4-digit code of the inductee that they want, the biography they want to read about. Okay, next. So if they hit in the 4-digit code for Dr. Cunningham, his picture would come up on that little monitor, his biography as well, and they could scroll up or down to read the biography. And that's for any of the inductees there that they want to read about. And the kids do read it from what I've been told. You know, the kids have time in the mornings and the afternoons at different times. So they do come up and get involved with it on occasion. Now there's two monitors. This is the one that we just saw again with the picture and the bio. This is Charlie Hinton. Okay. Now the other bio, the other one over here though, if they hit the 4-digit number again, this says 40. So here they can sit, you can sit in the school district and somebody can read it. If it's quiet or there's not too many people around, they can use this one and hit it and they'll get an audio biography. I'm going to show you this one now. When I hit this, I'm not going to play the whole thing, but this is, can we flip that over?
Bolton. Frank Bolton was born on Long Island and moved to the Bay Shore-Brightwaters area at the age of 3. He graduated in 1969 from Bay Shore High School, where he was an outstanding student athlete. Frank Anthony Bolton. Frank Anthony was...
Hi, Frank. So,
All right, we're good.
so every one of the inductees also has an audio biography there too, so somebody can just listen to them rather than read them. Originally, we had, this was a speaker, right here and here. Originally, we had the speakers in those spots, and we didn't have the safety glass over the wall. So we basically, as soon as we saw it, we said, that's not going to work, because somebody's going to stick pens in those speakers. And so we immediately put the safety glass over it, and then we put these speakers up in the ceilings in the lobby, they're right above the wall, so they emanate down. Safe in that regard. So we have the audio biography, and we have the read biography for each of the inductees. And you see them listed here. Now we have the class of the inductee class of 2000. Oh, okay. So we have 8, 13, and 19. So that's expanding now. Okay, next. Okay, this is the class of 2002. I just put it up there because I wanted to see the inductees, and it has these pictures are posted up there because I showed you before, the pictures on the outside, they got smaller and smaller. Well, as the classes increased, we had to have a new place for the photos. And the school allowed us to extend our display with the photos down the rest of the wall. So it's attractive. We had to refinish the wall area. So I think it made it more attractive in that area. But it also was able, we were able now to display the photos a little bit bigger and for future classes as well. So this is the class of 2002, their photos. Susan Barbash, Jerry Burka was on the board there. The Anthony brothers, of course, Chris Quackenbush, who actually financed, Chris was very successful in the banking finance industry. He also financed anonymously our summer school program for the kids for many, many years. And he did it anonymously. He was killed in 9/11. And then here are the Van Nostrand brothers, of course, as well. Okay, next one. 2003, class is a little bit smaller, but this is 11. And this is Commander Cody. He was an artist.
George Frame.
John Frame. Giles Brophy was a successful banker. We also had a Kentucky Derby winner. Striker Gold.
Wow.
Billy Knapp, again, we talked about him with the kids wrestling. This is Bob Metcalf, the fellow that invented the Ethernet. He's done very well. He's down in Texas now. And, some educators. Judith Regan, she had the largest publishing company in Rupert Murdoch for many, many years. Okay, next one. 2004, this is the class here, Patty Wilson, again, she's a singer, still covering today. John Bolson, he was, again, very successful in banking. He now has the high-class restaurants, tellers and so forth. With the, I think they call it the Bolson Group. Marriott Granith was a film star back in the early days, just coming out. Harvey Milk, as you know, Harvey Milk was involved in gay rights activist and was assassinated back in the 70s. Ron Rosenbaum was an author, of course, and his mother was a teacher here in Bay Shore, Ruth Rosenbaum, for many years back in the 50s and 60s. Okay, next. Okay, this is the class of 2008. Now we're down to 10, so we're getting closer. Another area that we try to highlight is community service. So some of these people are inducted just because of community service, and Mary Reed would be an obvious example in that category. Mary's been active in the community for her whole life. Okay, next one. Oh, Amy Goodwin, sorry, I wanted to put her because you highlighted her in Brightwaters Library as well. Okay, next one. Okay, now we're up to 2013, so you see the years are getting a little bit more stretched apart. Dr. Holman was inducted in this one, and we usually, as the years went on, we wanted to keep, if we did an administrator, we were only doing one. The rest were going to be alumni. So that's where we kind of kept it for the last few years. And we had some people from the military. Here's Tom Richards, he's a Rear Admiral. We also have John DeGilio, who's a Brigadier General. So we have a couple of military people in there. Tom Richards is amazing, and when we get to the Veterans Wall, I'll tell you a little bit more about him. Duncan Niederauer, the president of the New York Stock Exchange. So you got some pretty heavy hitters here. We have some people in religion too. John Morrison, Reverend Paul Powell, Jim Cornigan's recent inductee from the religious arena. Okay, next. 2019. Again, Phil Carpenter again is a teacher, so he's from the school group, if you want to call it that. Dr. Cunningham, another amazing person, made a career in graphic publishing companies throughout the United States, but also throughout the world. Sold it, and then went into education, and is the chancellor of the California, the whole California education system. So he's pretty amazing man. He supports one of our scholarships as well. Charles Modiger, again, is another one. His family's been around Bay Shore for many, many years. Established the medical college in Grenada. St. George. In Grenada. And they produce more doctors for this country than any other institution. So that's going to be done. He was going to come up, he was due to come up for his 60th class reunion last year. And he had to cancel out at the last minute.